Okay, gonna put down an island. I'm gonna spend 3 in order to cast Freed from the Real on your Kiyomaru first to stand.
Nice. All right, you got an answer to Kiyomaru.
Yay!
Yay.
I'm still dead. Alright, I'll end.
Wait, but where's the card? Why'd you put it back in your hand?
I didn't. I attached it.
Oh, you attached it. My bad. Okay. So I do not gain life points this turn. Draw a card. I'm gonna pay 5 in order to cast the Torii, the Torii Watch Ward. Ugh, words. 3/3 with vigilance. I am out of mana. I'm gonna go into combat step. Are you gonna tap?
Prior to combat, I'm going to spend 1 in order to tap the Kiyomaru.
Kiyomaru is now tapped. I'm gonna attack you with Automaro for 4, and 2 Goto's Irregulars.
Alright, I'll block one of the Goto's Irregulars with my Kill Out of Kirin.
Alright, so this one is dead. You take 5 damage from the unblocked creatures. And turn is yours.
Alright. Yeah, my move. Okay. You know, Cloud, it would have been really fucking nice for me to get another forest at any point in this game.
Jeez. You're running equal parts island and forest, right?
I don't think so. I think I'm at -2 forests over islands.
I see.
Okay, so I'm gonna spend 3 in order to cast the Ghostlit Nourisher and have Cloudhoof Kirin mill you for 3.
Okay. So Kenzin. Oh, that guy never got a chance. The Spellblade, Plains, and Nikoona.
Oh, isn't? Oh, you didn't get to play your Nikoona. Fuck.
It's whatever. I mean, for
Right,
God's sake, I got 45 life points. No Ivory Crane triggers. Well, I do have Mikokoro, Center of the Sea, which has a rather interesting interaction. Because now I can pay 2, tap it, both of us draw a card. Why am I letting my opponent draw cards? Well, to power up Automaro, of course, who now is Power and Toughness 5, respectively.
Ah, shit! I forgot to trigger Jukai. Oh well.
Whenever you play
Jukai and Cloudhoof Kirin have got the same triggers.
But what did you play that would have triggered it?
I played Ghostlit Nourisher.
Oh. Gotcha. It's a mandatory ability.
I have missed it, Cloud. Continue play.
Okay. I'm going to enter combat. Are you...
Prior to combat, gonna spend 1 to tap Kiyomaru.
Kiyomaru is now tapped. I'm going to swing into you for 5, 6, and 3 with vigilance.
Alright, I'm going to have Cloudhoof Kirin. Damn it, I'm dead. But I want you to actually get your Yoko in hand. So there.
Okay. So you killed my Torii Watch Ward, and it has Soul Shift 4. Going damage step, you take 6 damage, which ends the game before I even get my Soul Shift off.
Please?
No, because it's not legal. I don't have any more opponents. The game is over.
Dang it.
You should have blocked with more creatures.
There's no real point for me blocking with any more creatures, though. Like, if I block with Ghostlit Warder, I'm dead because I no longer have my control archetype. If I block with Elder Pine of Jukai, I'm dead because I no longer have the rest of my engine working. If I block with Ghostlit Nourisher, well, he can probably take down the Irregulars, but I'm still at the 0. So
okay, so notwithstanding this rather bizarre extra game we've had, I'm pretty sure that Gurdat is still the winner of this match. I think that
we're technically 2-2.
when
but,
when you put the screws to your opponent with control measures, your opponent is in quite a pickle because he can't get his shit on the board. The most important part is don't let it hit the field.
Which in this set specifically is a huge problem. Red can do it. I'm pretty sure Red's got at least a kill spell that does 1 damage, and with the majority of the creatures in this set having extremely low stats, it's relatively easy for Red and Black to make sure their opponents can't realistically set up things. However, I honestly think that that's one of the better things about this set from our gameplay experience. Game 2 was fucking hilariously fun to play through. Despite the fact that Cloud kept spending like two minutes per phase trying to think of what the fuck he wanted to do.
Well, I mean, call it what you will. I mean, I did win the game. It's just kind of again, you gotta. I guess this is why I should keep a wristwatch. I don't really like wristwatches though. I find them uncomfortable.
Nah, your cell phone has a clock on it, Mr. Cloud.
It does. Yes, it does.
Alright, so the set in its entirety, to be perfectly honest, this is actually a fun set to play with, but as with a bunch of the other middle sets that we've seen, it desperately needs the rest of its block. The Spirit archetype that's here is really cool with Soul Shift, but it's much more fleshed out with actual good spirits in the rest of the block. The Flyers stuff that's here is interesting, but completely dependent on the bounce mechanic that is in one of the earlier sets. And the green multiple land play is really interesting, but it's only really important when you get over to the other formats, specifically Commander. I would like to show off. I think I actually did get to play every card in my deck. I didn't get to show off how awesome Keho is, but everything else at least got seen. The thing that I was working towards for Game 4 was I was trying to see if I could actually mill out my opponent, because Cloudhoof Karen, especially if you're casting multiple spirits and you can trigger Soul Shift relatively easily with where is it? Where are you, Promised? Yeah. If you can get the loop going with Promised and Garden Tree, this is this is honestly a really Tended Garden, Kami of the Tended Garden. You can loop your opponent for up to 5 cards a turn every turn with this, assuming you have the mana, and it's not all that difficult to set up. Earlier in the block, I think there's a tutor specifically for spirits. It might actually be lower cost spirits, but yeah, there is a lot of really interesting stuff in here. Murmurs from Beyond is a really powerful fucking card. The fact that it's arcane gives it really, really amazing synergy with other stuff from this block. Like Cloud was showing off with the Spiritual Visit and the Into the Fray combo. Yeah. Since Spiritual Visit doesn't technically cost you anything, you can do a lot of really awesome stuff with that. What about you, Cloud? What did you think of the set as a whole?
I mean, as we've commented on previous Kamigawa block sets, the flavor is, well, it is what the Japanese call oishi, delicious. Oh yes, very flavorful, very umami, savory, and long-lasting. Except for the part that, well, you're gonna be raising your eyebrow a lot. Like, okay, so I suppose because of the success, if you want to call it that, with the recursive life gain I had, that there is something to this whole keep lots of cards in your hand at all times. It's just a lot easier when you have non-basic lands that let you choose from, I don't know, more than just white and red, or more than just red and black, because there is so much you can do with that if only you had the consistency of mana capacity to pull it off.
Ivory Crane wants a different card game. It doesn't really work that well in Magic specifically.
Well, it forces you again to play Ivory Crane, especially. It forces you to play the long game. It forces you to say, okay, I'm willing to make sacrifices early game, knowing that I'm going to have a late game that will keep me alive long enough to kill my opponent. That's one thing.
Why didn't you run the owl one?
Well, because I don't care what you do. I only care about what I do.
So the owl specifically requires your opponent to have 7 or more cards.
Yeah, and it has the opposite, and it has the opposite effect. If an opponent begins their turn, beginning of upkeep, it checks their hand. If the number of cards in their hand is 7 or more, they take 7 damage, and that's cool because then you could use cards like Mikakora of the Legendary Sea in order to keep lots of cards in their hand while also keeping your hand size plentiful. So you're dealing 4 damage on any exchange is a significant number. You can only take you can only take 5 hits of 4 on a 20 life point game, and you're dead. So, but again, it's just knowing what the deck demands of your style. I mean, I wasn't crazy about the part that I was letting the cards decide for me how I wanted to approach the game. But at the same time, I realized that, you know, you gotta, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, except we're in Japan, so do as the Japanese do.
And the Japanese have really interesting lore. Like, the most interesting lore.
One thing that we didn't touch on was the flip cards, which I brought out Homura.
This is because all the flip cards in this set suck.
No, come on. Homura is pretty... I think Homura is among the better ones, because when Homura dies... When he's put into a graveyard from play, yes, he's converted mana cost 6, so you're going to be hanging on to him for quite some time. But when he dies, he gets a pretty fucking powerful enchantment on the board. Creatures you control get +2/+2,
I'll grant that.
And
the
flying.
thing is, his but Cloud, the thing is, his enchantment is very explicitly red, and at 6 mana, red's supposed to have won the game 2 turns ago.
I mean, I guess when you're running Glitterfangs at the wazoo. Getting early game damage on your opponent. So, yeah, I guess you could say Homura won't really have a chance to express itself. Not to mention that with the one copy I had, not only did you not mill it, I never drew it, never played it. It wasn't even relevant.
Yeah. I like this set. Rather, I like this game that we played. I'm not entirely sure that this set on its own holds up that well. I think it has a lot of really interesting things, but most of which is carried over from the previous Kamigawa set. For example, Bushido is a really cool keyword. It's just that it doesn't actually trigger often enough for it to matter, and a lot of times creatures have attacks for having Bushido. And even Bushido 1. Bushido 1 is really cool, but every creature with Bushido on it has to be really weak in order to compensate. So
that's why you run Fumiko the Lowblood, who is in another Kamigawa set, who has Bushido X, and oh boy, but when Bushido, you know, has a variable stipulation, it gets a little interesting.
Yeah. Kind of sad you never got to play Oni of Wild Places.
Yeah,
that would have been a nice game finisher for you.
Oni of Wild Places has a reprint. Like the modern game saw fit to bring Oni of Wild Places back. Same thing with Michiko Konda, especially so with Michiko because she's fucking ridiculous with her ability. And the game said, yeah, give the lady a chair.
All right. So all in all, it's a really cool set. We're just not entirely sure if it's a good set. Our exploration this time has yielded mixed results. Yeah.
It does. Well, I mean, it does make it fun if you want to isolate sets with your opponents, kind of like we do.
Yep.
That's well, it will keep you in the world. It will keep you immersed in a land of mysticism and life, afterlife, death, even undeath.
Alright then, everyone. Tune in next time when it is Cloud's turn to pick out the next set that we go explore. Woo! Maybe he'll pick something older, probably not. We're kind of drawing up the older sets very slowly.
This is a pretty old set.
We haven't done any of the really bad stuff like Odyssey or the Urza's block yet, so. Alright, everyone. Be safe.
Thanks for watching.